Hello and welcome to the Library Connection. I'm Summer Newman Ernest, and the library board and staff would like to join me in thanking TV47 for allowing us the opportunity to showcase B.B. Comer Memorial Library and its service to the entire greater Sylacauga community. Joining us today, a very special guest, we have Dr. Suzanne Lacey, the superintendent of Talladega County Schools, and she has taken time out of her very busy schedule, especially with the beginning of the school year, to join us today. Dr. Lacey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the invitation. Always a pleasure to be here on TV47.
Well, we're so excited to have you. And just starting off, how long have you actually worked in this area?
I've worked in Talladega County Schools for 32 years. So I started my teaching career here in 1984.
You're not old enough to work for 32 years anywhere.
I really am.
That's amazing to have been in that same school system for such a long time. You don't hear of that.
You really don't, and it's something that I take a lot of pride in and have really enjoyed the whole journey.
I'm sure. Well, and they're thankful to still have you too. And so your educational background?
Yes, I'm a graduate of Auburn University, and my background is elementary education, and I taught 5th grade for 5 years and then became the assistant principal at Childersburg Middle School and later the principal, and from there I went to the central office, and in 2008 I was appointed superintendent.
Wow. Well, I know when I was getting my master's at Auburn that what was your position when you were, I guess, more of in a recruiting aspect, or when I met you then?
I was, and I remember that. Summer, thanks for the reminder. I was the personnel director at that time, so I think that was probably one of the greatest preparations for my role as superintendent, because relationships and really getting to know potential teachers and recruiting potential teachers was a real joy for me during that time.
I can't say enough, because of course we had every school system, not only in Alabama, but Georgia, and some of the names that you hear all the time. And when I met you, of course I already knew, being from Talladega County, and my mom taught there and graduated there, but I was just blown away, and I said if I had been anybody walking into this, I would have signed my name right there to teach in Talladega County Schools, because you were just such a wonderful representative and recruiting, and I know that you continue to do that. And so you've gone from teacher to administrator to superintendent. And how long have you held that role?
This is my 9th year as superintendent, so quite a journey, and one that really started kind of I guess by accident. I really didn't aspire to be the superintendent, but when the vacancy became available, I was interested, and it seemed like the next step, and I'm certainly glad that I took a leap of faith, and it's been a phenomenal experience.
And so when we talk about Talladega County Schools, and being superintendent is always a very difficult job, but just looking at the size of the school system, what are some of those numbers size-wise?
Absolutely. Our school system is very long geographically, so from north to south, it's about 60 miles.
Wow.
Within those 60 miles, we have 17 schools, and current enrollment is about 7,700 students. We're still losing some and gaining some. We'll know more definite in the next 2 weeks, but it's quite a large operation. We have close to 1,000 employees, and we're growing in certain areas. The Fayetteville, Munford, Lincoln area are our fastest growing areas in the school system.
Which is wonderful to see.
Absolutely, yes.
But when you think of that, your CEO, I can't even imagine what you deal with on a daily basis, because not only do you have, you're close to 8,000 students, you have all of your employees, and it's different, you have administrators that you're having to deal with, and you have your teachers, and then you have all of your different aspects. It is, I know, an enormous job, and you seem to handle it so well and with such grace.
It is, and I think the key, Summer, would be the people that are leading our schools. Our administrators are top-notch. And the central office staff, the people that I work with closely every day, are top-notch as well. And I think empowering others to be great leaders is really a trademark of our school system. And with that in mind, it's certainly a comfort and a joy as a superintendent to work with great leaders. And it really just trickles down to all of our schools and students.
Well, and I do think that is a key to your success, is having those leaders and cultivating them. And I see so many, just rise up through the ranks, and so proud to continue their educational career in Talladega County Schools. You hear things nonstop about the schools. I always hear about such wonderful things. I said, it's because of Dr. Lacey.
Well,
that I feel like you're such, on the cutting edge, compared to any school system in the state. And so I just want to go through some of the programs for people who aren't aware throughout your system. I mean, some things that you've been doing, long before probably it was even in the news.
Okay. Well, I think one of the biggest things that we're doing, and we've had a lot of success, it started in 2009, is the integration of technology to support learning. And our world that we live in is totally acclimated to technology, and it changes very quickly. Yes. So we knew that we had to really integrate that into our schools to prepare our students to be college and career ready.
Right.
And we had to do it in a hurry.
Right.
And we've really done that over the last 7 or 8 years. We're constantly changing and upgrading based on new inventions and new technologies, but it's really not about the device, it's about what the device can do to really enhance the learning of students.
Right.
And we've seen that energize the curriculum above and beyond, add rigor to the curriculum, and truly prepare our students for that next step after they leave us.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is that I know sometimes the reluctancy maybe comes from the teachers, and because they're not used to it like the students. And so I've seen in Auburn City Schools, when we implemented the one-to-one, a lot of times it was the student teaching the teacher how to do that. But I think that that's necessary, not only when they go on to college or to career, that they're prepared for that, but just to keep their attention and to have them stimulated in the classroom, that what worked 20 years ago no longer works.
Well, absolutely, and it's a real different classroom now,
right,
with the needs, the expectations, and then you have the wonderful tools that can really fill in the gaps and really capture the attention of students that traditionally might have been a more difficult task. So you mentioned teachers becoming acclimated, and our teachers have done a phenomenal job in doing so. Students have really helped a lot with that. We have many groups within the schools, the tech experts that help all of the adults, and we're very proud of the teaching staff, because they really have risen to the occasion and have become leaders in technology within their school and their classrooms.
Well, and I know when you do the tours, the people in the community are just amazed by what the students can do. And when you see a student-centered learning environment, it really is amazing. There's no longer the teacher at the board who's talking the entire time. The students take ownership in their learning.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's something that we really work on in practice. We really feel like students need the opportunity to communicate and collaborate, because that's what happens in the real world.
Right.
And to be able to do that at a young age is extremely important to their development. And you mentioned empowering them to own their learning. Right. And that's so very true. And as a result of that, we have seen many more confident and confident learners that are really ready to go into interviews and to enter that next step with a lot of poise and grace.
Right. Well, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get back, but that it's so important, because no longer are you teaching facts. They can find the facts in 2 seconds, right, via internet or whatever. So it's how to think and how to find those answers, as opposed to your true, false, multiple choice. So it's a whole new world out there. It's exciting being an educator and going through the system. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Dr. Suzanne Lacey.
Do you care about our community? Then join #Team Taunton. Brian Taunton will provide unique leadership, vision, and purpose with a hard work mentality. He will be a servant leader to all of the community, make a meaningful difference to our families, our city, and our surrounding area. Creatively solve city problems within our roads and city infrastructure. Provide for a forum to network new business and industry. www.briantaunton.com. Brian Taunton for Mayor, a working vision for Sylacauga.
Hey y'all, Jim Green from TV47. You can now catch us on the internet. We're streaming live at TV47.tv. All of our great programming, whether it's Daybreak with Jimmy Dale, Matt Coulter, and Around the Track with Matt, or I'll be on with Coosa Valley Magazine, and a whole lot more too, right here at TV47, now TV47.tv on the internet. Whatever device, you can watch us right there at TV47.tv.
Recycling, it's nothing new, but how many of us actually do it? What's the point? Every time you toss out something that could be recycled, you're throwing away money. Recyclables are valuable, and when items like these are recycled, they are sold to businesses and made into new products. Alabama's recycling industry employs thousands of people, and more recycling equals more jobs, which equals more money put back in your local economy. See, recycling just makes sense. Let us show you how recycling works in and for Alabama.
Hello and welcome back to the Library Connection. I'm Summer Newnham Ernest. Joining me today is Dr. Suzanne Lacey, the Superintendent of Talladega County Schools. This is a very busy time for you, I know, with the beginning of school. We've been talking about the longevity of your career here in Talladega County Schools. 32 years. Yes. That's unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. And I know that they're so very fortunate because you could be anywhere, I know nationwide, that they would be happy to have you. You're such a phenomenal educator and leader. And so when we talk about, we'll get back to the technology, just the large scale of this system, how do you even reach all areas? I know that you were trying to get to some of the schools, yes. Or did you get to all of the schools?
Absolutely. The technology infrastructure, of course, is what makes everything work. And we have a phenomenal tech department that is very undersized for the huge responsibility that they have, but they do a really phenomenal job in securing the needs and meeting the needs every single day for all of our schools and buildings. We have 17 schools, an alternative school, but that doesn't mean that there are not other buildings that need the wiring and the capability. So we really started out small in our technology department. We're growing slowly as the years go by, but I think that's really key to making sure you have a super highway. This is the way they explain it to me, as far as the infrastructure to meet the needs. Right.
Well, and especially in some of the more rural areas, I know that that's difficult. And so at this point, would you say that in every classroom that there's technology being used at all ages?
Yes. Back in January of 2016, we achieved our goal of every student having their own personal device. Wow. And we were able to provide that over a series of years and steps for our students. So we're very, very proud of that because it has been a goal from the beginning, and we wanted our students to have the device to be able to take home, to be able to utilize in the classroom, and not to have to share necessarily, but their very own. And in January, we achieved that goal, so very excited about that.
That is absolutely amazing. And what a wonderful way, I mean, for students that are in this system and for parents, thank you that the schools are actually supplying those so that they can use them in and out of school. And I know that that's the way it is anywhere in any job, that you have to be able to use those and to have that already and at such a young age. That's amazing.
We're proud of our students. Having the device is a lot of responsibility.
It is.
So not only do you have to worry about the physical nature of the device, but also we do a lot of educating on how to use the device, to making sure that students are not going to sites, and we have filters and things that protect. But there's a lot of responsibility that we have to put on our students to be able to make sure that they are using it responsibly.
Well, and I'm sure that there's a pride factor there too, that they want to take care of it so that they continue to have, to be able to use those. And so technology, obviously huge. You've done a great job with that, cutting edge. I know there's been tons of awards. You see it all the time, and it's not because I live in Sylacauga. I'm talking about statewide, nationwide. I see Childersburg High School, Winneboro High School being named and mentioned, and just wonderful success stories. Can you tell me some of those?
Yes. 9 years ago, we really set out to do great work. And my definition of doing great work is work that others want to replicate. So we really worked carefully together with our schools to produce work that was meaningful. It was relevant to what students were doing in their community, maybe real world problems, and coming up with solutions. And as a result of that, we have been noticed or recognized for that work. Most recently, Childersburg High School received the National Innovation and Change Award. And the award was given to only 4 other schools across the nation. So
stop right there. Childersburg High School won an award that only 4 schools in the entire nation, that's the United States of America, not the state.
Yes.
I mean, that alone is just mind-blowing.
We are just so excited.
Right.
The award is presented by the National Principals Leadership Institute, a very well-renowned group across the nation who works with innovation and change. And in 2012, Winterboro won the award. We were so thrilled. And Munford High School was also a finalist for the award this year. So I think that alone really documents how innovation and change is moving and defining our school system.
And tell us about that award. But, you know, too, this isn't in Mountain Brook, Alabama. And so, you know, you are taking every student from all different backgrounds and showing them how to be successful. And the nation is recognizing that.
Yes, absolutely. And we are a rural area. Our students may not necessarily have some of the same opportunities that other students do in more affluent areas. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that they have the same opportunity, that we're preparing them for excellence. And through recognition, that really all helps us to stand a little taller.
Definitely.
Continue to really work harder to create more opportunities and really establish that vision for excellence as our kids move through their school career.
That's absolutely amazing. And what I love being a proponent of this area is that attracts people, because when people are deciding where to live, regardless of where their job is, that they look at, you know, the schools and the educational system. And so when you see national award-winning schools, then you want to live there and send your kids there.
And we are extremely grateful for our former state superintendent, Dr. Tommy Bice. Dr. Bice really followed our work in Talladega County schools, and it was a big proponent of what we were trying to do with project-based learning and technology. And Dr. Bice never missed an opportunity to share about Talladega County schools all across the state and the nation. So we are thankful for that. We like to keep good company in the school system, and I think that has also helped us to expand and grow and really to perfect our craft of teaching as the years have gone by.
Wow. Well, I know that you have some wonderful new facilities. Something coming up, this of course interest here is the stadium, which will be having a ribbon cutting tomorrow.
Absolutely,
correct?
Yes. We have partnered with Sylacauga City Schools the last few years to really craft a wonderful renovation for Legion Stadium. And for it to come to fruition is very exciting, I know, for the Sylacauga schools and also the Talladega County schools, and particularly the Commerce schools. So it's something that was so needed and well deserved for all of our students in the community.
Definitely, and I know everybody in the city is excited to see that and to start seeing Friday night lights in the renovated.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. I've seen pictures, haven't actually been in there, but I know that they're going to be really excited. Dr. Lacey, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more.
Hey Sylacauga, I'm Dr. Gina, and I want you to join me live every weeknight, Monday through Friday, right here on Channel 47 on the world's first social television show. And it's going to be all about you, whether it's presidential politics or Deflategate. If it's trending, we're going to be talking about it. I want you to join me live every Monday through Friday on Channel 47. Don't miss it. America Trends with Dr. Gina, Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. right here on Channel 47. See you then.
Do you care about our community? Then join hashtag Team Taunton. Brian Taunton will provide unique leadership, vision, and purpose with a hard work mentality. He will be a servant leader to all of the community, make a meaningful difference to our families, our city, and our surrounding area. Creatively solve city problems within our roads and city infrastructure. Provide for a forum to network new business and industry. www.briantaunton.com. Brian Taunton for Mayor. A working vision for Sylacauga.
Hey Birmingham, it's your favorite girlfriend, Ebony Steele, back in my hometown. My show, Coffee with America, is now on WOIL TV 47 4 days a week. Catch me and Sasha Rianda Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 8 a.m. You can also see us Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. We're bringing you the latest in lifestyle, food, entertainment, you name it. We'll see you soon.
Hello and welcome back to the Library Connection. I'm Summer Newman-Ernest. Joining me today, Dr. Suzanne Lacey. We are so excited to have her here. We've been discussing Talladega County Schools, and at the library we're so happy to be able to service children, adults from all over your school system. I know we've just wrapped up the summer reading program, and Miss Mandy Cantrell and the other staff there are so happy to hopefully continue that reading and love reading and learning over the summer, so that when they hit school last week, they were ready and roaring and ready to go.
Absolutely, and we're so thankful for our community libraries. Dr. Shirley Spears does a phenomenal job and is such a jewel, not only for the Sylacauga community, but the state. And it's so important for our students to have that opportunity to be able to attend special programs or just to go and check out a book at their local library. And we see that not only in the Sylacauga community, but other communities throughout Talladega County. And I can remember as a young person, that was one of my favorite summer activities, was going to the summer reading program. And we did not miss a time. That was a priority for my mom to take my brother and I. And I remember that just like it was yesterday, and all of the books that I read, and Pippi Longstocking was my favorite.
I love Pippi Longstocking too.
So I think that's just a tradition with excellence, and to really instill that love of reading for students, and so important. And we're so grateful for what the community does here in Sylacauga for our Comer students.
Well, we're thankful for any partnership with Talladega County Schools. And so we've been talking about all of the wonderful programs that under your leadership and 32 years of service to Talladega County Schools, which is unbelievable. Wonderful awards, most recently with Childersburg High School, and before that Winneboro High School, and national awards. And so you're doing something right, that's for sure. The technology, I think, is something that everybody in the area needs to be aware of, that every student has his or her own device at this point out of 7,700 students. So there is some wonderful learning opportunities, I know, every day in that classroom, and something that they will be on equal level with when they graduate from their respective high school. So it's wonderful to see all of these things going on. Are there any other news or upcoming things that you want to talk about for the schools?
Sure. I think one of the things that we're most excited about for this coming school year is the fact that we have an initiative called STEAM, which is really not new, but we are really doing more concentrated work with science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and also the arts. So we're recreating or repurposing a lot of spaces in our schools to really have students to come in and to have an opportunity to expand and increase curiosity, because we know that part of learning is discovery learning. And to be able to create what we're calling maker spaces is really exciting for our students to be able to come in and create. And all of the skills are tied into technology, math, and science, and also the arts. And we're really excited about that and what it has to offer for our students who are not only thinking about careers in those particular areas, but just the sheer nature of helping students to identify their strengths and talents and expertise in a setting that is a little bit informal, structured but informal, but giving them an opportunity to really learn and grow in that capacity.
And so would that be at the elementary level or in the secondary level?
It's at all levels. It looks a little bit different from elementary to secondary. For example, at the elementary level, it's more of a lab type setting with a lot of what we call maker spaces. And you'll see a lot of materials. You'll see pipe cleaners, you'll see art materials, you'll see computers, and it may be an activity where students are having to design and create a robot using these 5 materials. And all tied into a specific skill that students would need to be able to do and know. So a little bit out of the ordinary, but the purpose is to really help students to problem solve, critically think, and to work collaboratively with their teammates to develop this creature or whatever the activity may require.
Well, and I think working collaboratively, I think as a classroom teacher, and especially science, of course I loved labs and any kind of open-ended questions where they had the opportunity to sort of go their own way. But you see nowadays with kids on their phones, and so I think communicating and working together, that's essential so that they have those skills that outside of the school they might not be working on.
Absolutely, and not only does that help with the academics, but it also helps socially.
Definitely.
And we all want our kids to like each other and get
Sure.
along, and sometimes that's a little bit of a challenge for whatever the reason may be.
Right.
But I think it's important to give them opportunity to be able to practice those skills, because in the real world we're working with individuals that we may not know well.
Right.
We may not
It
necessarily
might not be your
like.
best friend
That's
that
right.
you're sitting by.
But our kids are beginning to really respond to that and understand the dynamics of what it takes to be good team players.
Definitely. And when you're in that team setting, you can see everybody's strengths. And so everyone has their own strengths. And
Absolutely.
it takes, that whole community in order to be successful. Sometimes it's not a, me, I world. And so I think those are wonderful skills. And probably helps the teachers, there's not the classroom management issues when they're actively engaged in learning.
Absolutely. And, teachers have commented on that a great deal about, I guess, the real communication and the real respect that it helps to achieve among classmates.
Right.
And, again, a lot of that is just by natural association now.
Sure.
Through the collaboration and the expectation, most
Right.
importantly, is that our teachers are establishing that as part of the daily routine. And our classrooms look a lot different. We've gotten rid of a lot of desks over
Right.
the last years. And you see more tables and you
Right.
see more chairs so that students have the opportunity to move around.
Yeah.
And I know when I was teaching, we were all in a desk and we were all in a straight row.
Right.
And that was the norm.
Right.
But very different now, even for our high school students, because we want to give them the opportunity to work in a setting like that.
I know every time I would be setting up my classroom or in a different school, I would be trying to find tables because I
Uh-huh.
didn't want the desk, I
Right.
wanted the tables and the chairs, and I think that is the best way for them to learn and to actively, like I said, be engaged. I know, as you're recruiting new teachers, administrators, and building up these leaders, what would you say, especially, nowadays it's so very different than people who were in education many, many years ago. What kind of traits are you looking for, and what do you think it takes to be a successful educator?
I think the trait that we most often look for is a person that truly has a desire to do a great job in the classroom. And there are many factors that go into that. I think one is just having a coachable attitude.
Right.
Because it's very different from the college experience to the real life classroom experience.
Yes.
As we all know, we've experienced that. So
Right.
to be able for a person to have the willingness and the desire to come in and learn, we have a great professional development program, not only for new teachers, but our veteran teachers as well.
Right.
And again, that is a trademark for Talladega County Schools. So we want the person to come in with the openness and the eagerness to continue their learning. And we are going to provide that for them through in-house experts. That's another thing that I'm so proud of in Talladega County Schools. Our teachers are the leading experts for professional development because they do it in their classrooms, and teachers training teachers is probably one of the most effective models.
I agree. I
we've
completely
empowered
agree.
them to really become experts of their own learning, and as a result, they are now, taking their magic and working with their colleagues to expand their learning.
Well, anytime that I'm around you, I'm ready to, I'm ready to sign up and start teaching again. I get so excited about it, and I think it's a trickle-down effect when you have such a wonderful and enthusiastic leader that it just shows. It shows everybody has such pride working in the schools and the students, and so I just wish you much continued success in the library. We're just so happy to be a part of, integral part, hopefully, of working with some of those students as well. Dr. Lacey, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks so much to the Sylacauga community and Dr. Spears and the wonderful partnership with our schools that she has instilled for many years.
Well, we appreciate it, and we will see you next time on the Library Connection.